single-handedly broke up my marriage. You're an awful person.
You're 24 years old. Why would I listen to you? Why would you be giving therapy and advice to people who clearly need it? It doesn't make any sense, Ari. This is a horrible idea.
You're listening to
unlicensed
therapy with Ari Manis.
Oh, if you didn't talk shit, why would they get mad?
I was on that show when Bill Burr was on it.
On Kill Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bill Burr just trashed Kill Tony the whole time.
Oh, that was one of the only episodes of Kill Tony that I liked.
And I recounted that story.
Uh-huh.
So all the negative things I said about Kill Tony were actually quotes of Bill Burr.
Got it.
And they thought, and because this podcast that I did reposted me talk, I filmed it over a year ago, well over a year ago.
What was the podcast?
Some European comedians.
In Europe.
In Europe.
Okay, so you were doing a podcast in Europe.
I was doing a podcast in Europe. And then when Tony's thing happened, with the Chinese thing, they were like, they messaged me and I didn't care. They were like, can we repost you talking about Kill Tony since he's hot right now or whatever? I didn't even read the DM. I go, yeah, I don't care.
Oh, this was after he got canceled?
Yeah. They reposted the clip after
so
he
that's
got
pretty
canceled.
recent. So a few months ago, you got a bunch of backlash.
A bunch of backlash for that. And then when I did Kurt Metzger's thing,
I think bad press is good press, especially for a complete loser piece of shit, unknown name.
Yeah, no, you would think that, like, and I agree to a degree, but it seems like whenever my name is in the public sphere, it's just a giant trashing.
It's okay. It's better than nothing.
There's never been like, but the thing is, you are like, I'm confused on how I feel about you. I feel like maybe, like, I don't want to say you're evil. Although we all say that behind your back, all your friends. Probably, but it's because you're a blank mirror, dude. Like, so you make us project whatever we see into ourselves like back, because you're a dead face.
So everyone who says I'm evil is really evil? The evil one?
Yeah, or they're so insecure they think everybody hates them. Like, you give the worst reflection because it's like staring at a fucking blank wall sometimes.
So people think I hate them?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who?
Nobody of consequence. I've never heard anybody of consequence say that. I think it's just like people at the ice. So, I used to hang out at the ice house. I used to host the ice house.
Yeah.
And people, many faces have come by saying some shit to me like, I think that guy doesn't like me.
So a lot of newer comics at the ice house said, I think that guy hates me.
Right, which is a great quality to have in that environment, because I have the opposite where
I don't want that.
Everybody thinks I'm their friend.
I don't want people to think that I hate them. My levels sound low to me. They sound good to you?
I think I'm loud. Maybe
okay.
I just...
But do I sound fine to you when you hear me talk?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, you sound fine. But you're just so fucking dead-faced.
Yeah, but that's because I've talked about this last few episodes. That's because I masturbate a lot. And
so you have low testosterone, you think?
Low energy.
Low energy.
Yeah.
Well, how do you masturbate? On a treadmill?
No, but coming is your energy, I think. Part of it.
It's your
not
chi.
all of it.
It's more your spiritual energy.
It's like, if you masturbate right before you go on stage, you're going to be relaxed and too calm. If you want to be a little bit higher strung, a little oomph in your voice and your step, a little pep in your step, can't jerk off so much.
I did a show in Palm.
I need to turn my levels up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what people say about me matters to me more than it should.
Oh, it does.
And every time someone I hear like, oh, that guy hates you, or that guy says you hate him, it's always someone I don't even know or talk to.
Sure.
It's always like, it's never someone where I'm like, huh, well, we're friends.
I can't picture you caring what people think because
That's just because I'm edgy on stage.
No, it's not. No, I could care less. I know what it's like to be edgy on stage and be an emotional wreck off stage. I relate to that personally, but I can't picture you. Like I can't even imagine you having an emotion. So
you just can't imagine me caring about anything. You're saying,
right? In a human way.
I care a lot about everything.
I see you caring about like nutrition. I gotta eat. I'm hungry. Like
I don't care about that. I mean, I do eat when I'm hungry, but not because I care. About nutrition.
I guess what I'm saying is you're basically like lizard brained, like instinctual. I shit when I have to shit. I jerk off when I have to jerk off. I eat.
You say this to me all the time. Really, I think
it's not anti-Semitic.
Your thoughts. I think you hate me. Maybe.
No, I'm a big fan of you.
Big fan.
Big fan.
Big fan.
Yeah, I like you.
Top. Would you
know
say
why I like you?
Top 5 fans.
Of yours? No, I'm not in your top 5 fans.
Damn.
I've never commented on anything. Everything you post, you've got a few people who I've seen your post. People comment and they like really like you.
I don't know who any of those people are.
Yeah, but that's how the only way anybody could be your biggest fan is if they've never met you.
Sure. I didn't mean like fanboy fan.
No, I'm not a fanboy.
Yeah.
But what I like about you is that you're so fucking direct.
I think, I don't know what I think. But
I
yeah,
don't-
at the Ice House, when people think I don't like them, it's probably because I'm not super outgoing.
No.
But I'm not mean to anyone. I don't think. I never say something mean to someone I don't, especially if I don't know them.
Right.
Like I would say something mean to you, but I would never say
Sure.
something mean to someone I barely talk to.
I dare you to say something nice about me. Oh, would you hear that breath?
I like that
Shut
plain
up.
green sweater.
No, you don't.
I do. Yeah, I'd wear that. I'd wear that sweater.
That's not me. I didn't design this sweater.
Yeah, but you chose it.
I did choose it, but that's
Yeah, good taste.
so you think I have good taste. You see, you got I'm trying to teach
I wouldn't describe, oh, Brian has good taste, but good taste in that sweater.
No, we're gonna work on you. I know this is a therapy podcast. I want you to give me a human compliment.
So you want about your personality, or what do you mean by that? Because I thought,
Okay, let's remove-
I think saying I like your sweater and the sweater you chose is a compliment.
It's a
to some
very
degree.
shallow compliment. It says nothing about my character. But let's remove me from the situation. Who's somebody in common that we know? Abby Roberge.
Yeah, good
Say
friend of mine.
something. Say something nice about him. Really nice, like about him as a
Hard
person.
worker.
That's good.
Do you hear a buzz when I talk? You hear that?
No,
Okay. Sorry.
Abby's a hard worker.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's always trying to better himself in some facet, whether that be his career or his image or his contacts or his financial thing. He's always trying to improve himself in some way. Every time I talk to him, oh, I'm on a diet. Oh, I'm quitting cigarettes. Oh, I'm getting a new apartment. I'm saving for this. I'm writing today. You know, it's always something to improve himself. He's never just like, I'm just chilling.
Right.
Whereas me, like, someone's like, what are you up to? I'm like, just loitering around my house.
Do you feel like you don't work hard enough?
I work harder than most, and I let that be enough. You know what I mean? But I don't think I'm working to my potential. But then I'll like, you know, I'll be like, oh, well, at least I'm doing more than Vokey.
Yeah.
So I could chill. Or, oh, at least
Right.
I'm doing more than that guy. You know, so.
There's always all these people come through this studio. You own the studio, and then everybody's seen this backdrop on a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, it's starting to be it's starting to the point where I'm like, I need to build another studio for me because
Of how generic it feels.
not generic, but people recognize it. So I'll get comments like, "Oh,
Right.
that's the studio from Call Her Daddy," or "That's Tim Dillon's been using that studio."
Or
you
Harry
know,
Jousey, whatever.
Harry
yeah.
Jousey, yeah. So I'll get comments, and it doesn't feel like it used to feel like mine,
Right.
and now it doesn't feel like mine. It feels like I'm using someone else's.
And that's you've had your home stolen from you by your own successful business venture.
I mean, a lot. So I get that comment a lot too. Like, "Oh wow, your business is a success." I stuttered with that word. It is a success in that we're no longer have any debt from it, and it's making some money, but I'm not making a living from it.
Right.
So it's not like a success.
Right.
It's just
You've also been
Could be
trained
worse.
probably by your mentor Theo Vaughn to, until the day you have $1 billion, you'll pretend to be poor.
no.
Have you ever seen that guy answer money
yeah.
questions?
I mean, I don't even want to spill someone else's business, but yeah, there's people I know in my life that don't want to appear as though they have money. I would say the same thing about my parents.
Your parents don't want to appear as though they have money?
They're starting to get better about it, but most of my life they've had some sort of money.
Uh-huh.
It's grown. They're probably richer now than they've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my dad does not want to be flashy to a degree. I mean, he has a Porsche, but it's not his main car. It's like his fun car. His main car is a 2000 Suburban.
Really?
And his shirts all have holes in them. And he could easily, and he even had, not only could he buy new shirts, he has new shirts, but he likes wearing the ones with holes in them.
He sounds depressed.
He's on antidepressants.
Okay,
So-
well, there's your answer.
But no, I don't think that's it. I think it's that he doesn't want to walk down the street and someone to judge him for
That was a
having money.
Conan O'Brien bit forever. Like he drove the same green Toyota for the first like 10 years of that show.
Yeah, and so Bobby Lee has an old shitty Prius.
With stickers all over it.
Zach Galifianakis, I heard, drives an old Subaru, or at least did for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of people, and I'd consider myself kind of like that, but I'm being dead honest when I say I am not making a living from the studio. Maybe it depends on the month. This month we didn't pay ourselves anything.
Right.
Last month Abby and I each paid ourselves $2,000. We make less than Sebastian.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, he worked way harder than us, or more hours in here.
Yeah.
But
I've produced a lot of podcasts in this space, and the reason why I started talking about this was because we were talking about like working hard and stuff. And I think there's some kind of psychosis where people sit down at this table and they have to start talking about hustling, grinding, money, power of now, manifesting.
Because there's so many like influencers.
Yeah, there's
and that's
so
what
many-
they talk about.
It's just all they talk. It's just guys with six packs with perfect jaw lines talking about how they don't like negative energy and they manifest and they don't understand that they're hot guys. I think it's harder for hot guys and hot girls to be self-aware because I think a hot girl gets exploited at a young age and is in danger of an uncle and all that kind of shit. So I think that
Danger of an uncle.
yeah. So they like.
Why are so many, like, you always hear, or it feels like every time you hear about someone getting molested or something, it's by an uncle or a relative or a cousin or something like that. But
because that's who has the most access.
right. Oh, and trust. So you're like, oh, she's safe with him. That's her uncle.
It's just like how Dane Cook's brother stole all of his money.
Right.
It's
Because
like
they put their guard down.
Yeah, they're in that circle of trust.
Oh, I never thought about that till right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when
being true trusting.
When I grew
That's
up,
why my guitar got stolen. It's for sure from someone I know.
you haven't found that.
Hey guys, it's me, Ari. I'm in bed at my parents' house in San Diego. Came down to get my van. It's almost done. It's about 9 a.m. right now. I'm still in bed because it makes me happy. Something you guys can do to get happy is use Talkspace. Things are changing in the world. People are working part-time. They have more free time. Kids are going back to school. It's a weird world. Maybe you're getting in a fight with a relationship, friends, family, a partner. You need to talk to somebody. Talk to a professional. Talk to a licensed therapist because they can help you a lot. That's their job. It's not embarrassing. It's not weird. A lot of people are doing it. A lot of people I know are doing it. A lot of people, you know who they are. And I can't say because it's not my business to say. But the point is, Talkspace is the #1 online platform for therapy. There are thousands of licensed therapists available to you. You can match with dozens of specialties, including anxiety, depression, relationships, and more. They work around your schedule at your convenience with live video sessions and unlimited messaging with your dedicated therapist. You can set goals, techniques to cope with difficult times. It's worth a shot. I use it. You guys should use it. If you need a little support to help you through the end of the year or want to start building towards a better upcoming year, Talkspace is here to help. Match with the licensed therapist when you go to Talkspace.com and get $100 off your first month with a promo code ARI, A-R-I. That's $100 off when you use code ARI, A-R-I, at Talkspace.com.
No, how would I have found it?
I thought it was a prank.
No, what a weird prank.
Well, because
Haha, I stole it as a joke. Well, why would you do that?
I'll tell you why I would do
Yeah.
that, because I've seen you walk around here. As soon as you come in here, you vacuum, you take the trash out, you reorganize things. I can tell how particular you are.
Yeah.
So I would think that a perfect prank for you would be to remove something from your house.
I'll tell you
it
what.
would drive you. Is it driving you crazy?
The guitar thing?
Yeah.
I've let it go, but yeah, it's upsetting. I think that would upset anyone to know that someone came in their apartment and stole their guitar. And even if someone returned it to me right now, I would not find it funny anyway, even down the road. Like there was a party, and I don't think this was even a prank to me. I'm not even going to say his name, but there's a guy who I invited over to my party at my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like an in-the-moment joke, but he took my pan, a $15 pan from Marshall's, not a nice pan, regular pan, and he hid it like behind like in the back of a cabinet. So it wasn't in where I keep my pan normally.
Sure.
And the next day or maybe a few days later, I noticed my pan's gone. And I was like, well, I had to have been at that party. That was when people are here. And I'm texting around, hey, do you know what happened to my pan?
You just texted everybody who was at the party?
Pretty much, yeah. It wasn't, when I say party, it was like 20 people or something, kickback, whatever you want to call it. And finally, I got to the bottom, and he's like, oh, dude, yeah, I moved the pan there. It was like a bit in the moment. I forgot or something like that. I will never invite that person over again. That person will never be at my house again. Like, who does that? It's just rude. You don't go to someone's house and move their shit.
This reaction is why it's a perfect prank.
But a prank is something that when it's over with, the person you pranked could also, in my perfect world, like if I was pranking someone on the street, it would either go over there. It would two ways it would be funny to me. If they laughed at the end too, like, you got me. Or if it went completely over their head. This didn't go over my head. I get the prank of I'm particular and taking my shit, but it's like, it's not funny enough.
You didn't like Bam Margera? Because I doubt his father, I don't think it went over his head, nor was he happy
but
about
it was
anything.
Funnier than like his dad going, hey, where's my shirt? And Bam's like, I took your shirt. And he's like, why'd you take my shirt? That's not that funny. He would like, pour shit on them and fuck with them.
Right.
More.
But you just find like, it's like whatever's particular to somebody. Like, like you're OCD, so I would do something where I would mess with the order of things.
Do you think I am OCD?
Yeah.
A little? Or a little or a lot?
Well, it's hard to tell because I spend most of my time in LA with comics, and most comics are slobs.
Yeah.
And so
I'm not a slob.
Yeah, maybe you're just clean, but because I'm around so many slobs, I'm like, oh, this guy has OCD. You're like Seinfeld.
Maybe
clean,
I have minor OCD. I don't think I'm definitely not that clean. Like if you go into my apartment, you would definitely not say it's dirty, but I don't think anyone would be like, oh my God, it's so immaculate and everything's so organized.
Yeah, I've been there. No, I don't
yeah, it's not OCD clean. It's just, I keep things where I know where they are. For example, yesterday I needed my passport for something.
I would assume
it's
travel.
Gone. No, you'd assume it correctly, actually. It was my driver's license expired.
Oh, you need two forms of ID. Okay.
I needed to apply for a real ID to renew it. And I keep my passport in my safe. That's screwed into my wall. So, which most people don't even have a safe.
No. Is it behind a painting?
I have a safe. It's hidden, not behind a painting, but it's like in the only walk-in closet in my apartment, and it's like in the corner to where you really wouldn't see it unless you were looking for it.
Right.
It's not like hidden, but it's hidden decently.
I didn't ask you for the exact location to save. I think that might have been a mistake.
Yeah. So I always keep it in that safe. Went to it. It's not there. So I obviously think that I misplaced it. I don't think anyone broke into my safe and just took my passport.
I don't know, man.
But it's unlike me to do that.
Are you a sleepwalker?
No.
Because a guitar, just breaking into an apartment and just taking a guitar, breaking into a safe and just taking a passport.
Weird things.
Sounds like somebody's fucking with you.
I think I misplaced the passport. The guitar, to this day, when I think about it, it gives me like anxiety because it's very bizarre that someone would come in my apartment and just take a $400 guitar. It's like not nice enough to where I feel like if they were robbing me for money, they would have taken more than just that.
Of course. You've got computer shit that's worth more than that guitar.
Yeah, I have cameras. To this day, I'm like,
let's list everything. We've already said where the safe is, so let's list.
Listen,
all the valuable items in the apartment.
If you're gonna rob someone, you wouldn't get that. If you
run into
pawned off everything in my apartment, you might get a few $1,000, but you wouldn't get rich.
If you had a free like supermarket shopping spree type thing where they let you into somebody's house, and you had to run, you only get to rob one room. Which room do you go in?
In mine?
No. Just like it's just a 2-story suburban house, and they're like, you have to go to one room, commit to that room, and you have to rob that room.
I guess the master bedroom.
That's where you would go?
Where would you go? Living room?
I think I would go office. Because I would imagine if there's an office in there, I imagine that's where the safe is. I would imagine there's computer shit in there.
Interesting.
Probably a gun.
I think that's a safe bet. I would have chose bedroom for women's jewelry.
That's smart. Go basement, take the water heater. You can scrap that for metal.
How much? A water heater new is $600, right?
I don't know. Have you ever watched like dudes,
1,000 maybe?
like meth heads, like break down like a water heater or refrigerator for all the metal? They like do it like
Yeah,
like they're like NASCAR guys.
I had David Lucas in here. You know him? And he, at one point in his life, it's interesting because he comes from, well, I don't know if they were wealthy, but like not a poor family, not a typical family that you would look at someone and judge them for.
Yeah.
So he comes from money or whatever, a privileged youth. He was there. I think he went to a private school at one point. He at one point was scrapping houses for metal. And he
Really?
said, but he said it was, you put an hour of work scrapping the metal real quick and you get a few $100, which is pretty good, especially when you're a young kid.
Yeah,
was
that's
when
good
he was
work.
doing it.
I used to watch it. Yeah, I would go through. There was a series of fires in West Oakland, which, no offense, they used to call Jewish lightning. You ever heard that term?
They called West Oakland Jewish lightning?
No, the fires. So when people do purposeful arson to collect on the insurance, that used
They
to be
called it Jewish
lightning.
What, and then what about the light? The light. So the Jewishness is for the money. I get that.
And the lightning
What's
is the
lightning?
fire.
Okay.
So somebody would go set their shit car on fire and collect the insurance. That was called Jewish lightning.
Interesting.
So-
I've never heard that before.
Oh yeah. That's a
Wow.
Maybe that might be a little East Coast, but
Recently, I heard from a friend, money N-word for a Jewish person.
that sounds like just that guy made that up.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't even have a ring to it. It doesn't. No,
It doesn't?
historical
Money
rivals
Black people and Jewish people are rivals?
in New York. Yeah, the
Really?
Crown Heights riots. Yeah,
I always thought they were like historical allies. For example, when like Martin Luther King marched, didn't a bunch of Jews march with the black people?
Jews did march with the civil rights, but like
They were both slaves. Obviously, one way more recent than the other, but
yeah.
I thought, to me, a lot of Jews, not me, but a lot of Jews I know are obsessed with black culture and black people.
Of course,
Like Jews love basketball. Jews love
the Beastie Boy,
Jordans,
Michael
rap
Rappaport
music.
type. Yeah.
So to me, I've never heard that before.
First
that
of all-
Jews and blacks were rivals.
Almost every rapper from the '90s has been in trouble on Twitter for posting anti-Semitic imagery.
A few of them have. I wouldn't say
it's a
almost
common
every.
thing. Louis Farrakhan, that brand of like Nation of
There
Islam,
was
very anti-Semitic.
Was it Nick Cannon?
Nick Cannon, Ice Cube, and
I
then
didn't know about Ice Cube.
Louis Farrakhan posted.
I don't even know who Louis
he said
Farrakhan is.
he's the head of Nation of Islam,
Okay.
called Jews cockroaches.
So he's anti-Jewish because he's Muslim.
Nation of Islam, though,
That's
it's not like it's attached to Israel. It's American Muslim. It started in
Right,
Georgia.
but Muslim and Jews have a rivalry. That's
but-
different than blacks and Jews.
But the Crown Heights riots in New York in the early 1900s were a riot between
Jews and blacks?
Hasidic Jews and the black people in Crown Heights.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The Orthodox ones.
Yeah, the Orthodox.
Man, I don't like Orthodox Jews.
I feel like nobody does.
Yeah, maybe not.
I feel like because if
A
you,
lot of anti-Semitism might stem from them. No, I think it's just
I go
Jews in
through
general,
rabbit
but
holes of YouTubes of people who left the Mormon church or who left the Orthodox stuff, and like people who
There's a
like,
lot of YouTube people
There's enough.
leaving Orthodox. I guess it's probably growing. Especially, I saw that Netflix documentary on it. That one guy. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't seen that.
It follows around this one guy who's basically left the Orthodox and he walks around.
Yes, I've watched the
and
YouTube version,
and
of
it
that.
shows like someone going like, who he doesn't even know, just another Orthodox Jew, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And he's like, I don't really like it anymore. And they just look at him like he's a crazy person.
Completely shunned, ostracized. Family doesn't talk to him anymore. Yeah, that's how it all is. The Mormon church sometimes gets like that.
Any super religious person is like that. Or I imagine if you were a religious Catholic and you were like, I don't believe in God, they'd be like, you're not my son anymore.
My whole family quit the church at the same time.
I've seen that happen
5th grade.
a few times.
We just left the Catholic Church.
So cool.
It was so sick. I mean, my dad quit before all
Was
of
it
us.
like, I was going to say, did one person do it and then you were like,
My
"Wait,
dad-
I've been thinking that the whole time. I was still in it because you were in it."
I think they were like, let's give the kids an opportunity to figure out this is bullshit. And then once they figure that out, we'll quit.
I've met some people who are Jews who don't believe in God, but want to raise their kids Jewish to like give them that or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot wrap my head around that. I'm like, so
I think that's what my
it's
family was
bullshit,
doing.
but you want your kids to believe in bullshit? Like, why would you want? To me, when I meet someone who's really religious, and this is gonna get me hate, I view them as kind of stupid. Could be brainwashed, but similar. If someone gets brainwashed easily, I view them as kind of stupid. And I know that's me being judgmental, but I can't help but feel that a little bit.
But there's equal amount of evidence for either point.
What?
Like that there is a God or isn't a God. They're like, it's the same argument. It's just a faith. Either you have faith.
No. Not someone who believes in God. I don't view them as
somebody who like
someone
adheres
who's
to like the rules
religious.
of a religion.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I've met some pretty fucking smart Christians out there.
Oh, totally. And
Only
look at like
Christians.
Ben Shapiro, who you listen to his podcast, whether you like him or dislike him, I think most people probably dislike him. He's clearly very intelligent, in my opinion.
I would call him more verbose than intelligent.
What's verbose? I mean, good vocabulary?
Yeah.
I think
You
he's
can get
intelligent.
you can
But he's
get,
also like a master debater, makes great points. I don't know. To me,
I was
he's
going to call him
very-
stupid, and then he said master debater, and I giggled. So I was like, you know what? Let me ease off
Maybe I'm
Ben
wrong.
Shapiro.
When I listen to Ben Shapiro, and I'm not saying I agree with everything he says or that I like him necessarily, but to me, he's undeniably very smart. Same thing with Jordan Peterson. You don't agree? You don't think these guys are smart?
These are you. I hate that our modern intellectuals are YouTubers. It's like, get off of YouTube and look.
Well, these are just the people I know.
Yeah, I know. I've seen your
If
algorithm.
you know smarter, that's not my algorithm. I barely use that computer. If someone who you think is smarter, and they want to be known as an intellectual,
and they are
an author or whatever, why don't they get with the program? If you were smart, I feel like if you were.
There's a difference between smartness and grifting.
What do you mean?
Like just because if you wanted to be an intellectual, you could stay within the framework of academia. If you want to be a fucking grifter,
Yeah, but don't most intellectuals? I imagine if you thought of yourself, do you think if someone who you would view as one of the smartest people, do you think they want to be viewed as one of the smartest people, or do you think they don't care about that?
well, okay. Like as far as like intellectual,
Who's someone you view as that I don't know about? Who you're like, I can't believe we talk about these YouTubers. Who do you think is the smartest?
okay, an
one of
obvious
the
answer
smartest
that I
people?
think that most people would have heard of would be Noam Chomsky.
Okay, so
He's written a million books.
Noam Chomsky. I don't know who he is.
Noam
I've heard the
Chomsky.
name. Noam Chomsky. You view him as someone who should be known as one of the smartest guys, more known.
No. What I think he's known well enough. But what I was going to say is to prove your point, he does have some pretense and ego to him, where he does want that
Right.
respective
And I think
intelligence.
Part of that is ego, but I think if it's kind of like an athlete, if you know you're the best NBA player, basketball player, you probably at some point want recognition for that.
Well, all the scientists. This is probably not going to go well with but all the scientists who came up with the vaccine
Want to probably be recognition for
name
that.
one. None of us can name any of them.
But I bet you they walk around in their snooty life and they're like, that vaccine everyone takes, I help make it.
Maybe
you
they
know?
don't though. There's a lot of there's a lot of like mycologists. Like there's just intelligent people walking around the world who have no interest in being known.
Of course. Of course, there's a lot of anything for everything. There's 6-7 billion people in the world. You could find examples of anything. But I'd say overall, if you are the top of your field, you probably part of the reason for getting to the top of your field and being so passionate is you want recognition in that. And maybe part of that is just a little bit of narcissism. Maybe part of that is ego. Maybe part of that is getting women. Who knows? Or getting sex. Who knows?
Then you get those people like, do you watch boxing at all? Are you a fan?
I mean, I've been watching the YouTube boxing, the Jake and Logan Paul fights.
You've been watching Bryce Dallas fight?
I watched
or what? Bryce Hall?
one
What's his
time.
name?
This is probably something I shouldn't reveal on a podcast, but I don't care. I'm gonna do it.
Ooh.
This is name dropping.
Ooh,
I'm gonna do it.
I can't wait. to
Maybe
hear
I'll
the
get my
name.
ass kicked for it.
That's
I
good
could.
content.
Maybe one day I'm gonna get punched in the face for this. Maybe one day I'll get murdered for it.
Ooh.
Earlier in the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
I matched with a professional. I won't say the name till the end if you want to hear it. I matched with a professional boxer sister on Tinder. Didn't know it when I matched. This has nothing to do with why I went out with this girl. Matched with a cute girl on Tinder.
Can I
Made
guess the
out
last
with
name?
her. Sure.
Figueroa.
No. Matched with a cute girl on Tinder. Started talking. Found out she lived in my parents' neighborhood. This was when I was in San Diego staying with my parents.
Is
over
this
the pandemic.
boxer known for YouTubing and vlogging?
Yes.
I know
Yes.
who you're talking about.
And went on a couple dates, made out. I kind of wasn't that in.
Did you guys do
on.
some body shots?
Does that mean sex?
Her brother does the body shot challenge.
Oh, I don't know that much about him. I've just heard of him and seen.
Well, I gave it away to people who knows. That just gave it away, what I just said.
What's the initials?
RG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his sister made out in my dad's 2000.
He will be in the
Suburban.
studio soon, too.
Will he really?
Yeah. He's coming on Out of Pocket.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know they were friends.
They're friends. Yeah.
I want to come there for that. Should I tell him, or do you think he'd get pissed?
It's hard to tell because he seems like a...
I don't think he would be like want to fight some random dude. It wouldn't be worth it for him.
Also, isn't there, I don't know if this is like a tow truck driver fact, but isn't there something illegal about like licensed professional combat athletes? Like it's like a different charge if they fight somebody?
I think that's
like a
something Bruce
child
Lee
lie.
said. Yeah.
It's like a Bruce Lee lie, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think assault in any fashion is illegal.
But they used to say this is assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, I think that's a movie line. Yeah, was the movie something Hollywood, the one with Brad Pitt?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah, they make fun of that. Like Bruce Lee says.
As he's taking off his coat when they're about to fight.
He says that quote. He goes, I would get charged for murder because this is assault with a deadly weapon. And Brad Pitt's like, yeah, murder is illegal for anyone. Like if you murdered someone, that's illegal.
yeah, that's what you would say in that moment.
And then they get in a fight, and Brad Pitt like is kicking his ass, and then. Yeah.
I always thought that Bruce Lee, when I first saw that movie, I saw it like 7 times. I love that movie. But I was like, this Bruce Lee impression is fucking racist. And then I went back and watched Bruce Lee movies and I was like, oh, it is dead on.
No, yeah, it was
it's like
so dead on.
Perfect Bruce Lee impression.
Listen, anytime someone's super famous and dies, they get overhyped. So is Bruce Lee super talented and awesome? Yes. But just like Nirvana, like anyone, they get to this level.
Mac Miller.
Yeah, they get to this next level. Oh, vacuum, that's good for a podcast. They get to this next level that, you could probably get some flack for this too, but it's like, I'm not trying to diminish their talent. I'm just saying, if they were still alive, would they be at that level? Probably not.
What if 5 minutes of this podcast is just you unhinged screaming at the maid or whatever the person cleaning I just picture
and being super racist because we all know what race they are.
Right. Irish.
You
fucking potato bitch! Turn off that fucking vacuum cleaner! Potato bitch is an old slur.
Should we wait or power through it?
I think we power through it.
Yeah, no one listens to the podcast anyway. Some people do, but not a lot.
And we love you.
Yeah, I do. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Bruce Lee's overhyped.
I think he's overhyped.
Yeah, he is the Kurt Cobain of Kung Fu.
Yeah. Do a lot of people say Kurt Cobain's overhyped, or is that just a me thing?
No, I don't.
And I like Nirvana. I do. I genuinely like Nirvana, so I'm not hating. I just think people, they went down as like one of the greatest rock bands of their era.
He died at the right time. Because you look at the bands he was grouped in, they all suck ass now. Like in retrospect, like nobody talks about Nirvana the way they talk about Alice in Chains or Pearl Jam, and I bet you like Pearl Jam, but
I do like Pearl Jam.
Yeah, you seem like that.
Wouldn't you say that no one talks about
Soundgarden?
Wouldn't you say Pearl? Just to go back on your Pearl Jam thing, you're kind of ripping on Pearl Jam a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Wouldn't you say they're going to go in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
100%.
So you can't really knock on someone who's going to go in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
My theory about Pearl Jam is, yes, you can. First of all, you gotta get out of this LA mentality that like accolades and awards mean anything in the real world.
But they do to an extent.
Like if a movie wins an Oscar, does that matter to you at all?
I think if a movie wins an Oscar, does that mean it always deserved the Oscar? No, but it means that the movie wasn't a piece of garbage.
I don't think that necessarily is what that means. I think it means that for whatever reason, it struck a nerve, whether it's like...
Yeah, it struck a nerve with the people who watch a shitload of movies.
Okay, so the Oscars were known for being, pretty much just racist forever, right? Whatever, just for easy conversation. It was like white. And then a civil... Hold on, let me just finish my point.
Okay.
And then there was like a social civil rights movement kind of thing that happened recently. And all of a sudden now a ton of black people are winning Oscars.
Right.
So that, to me, that means that the whole system is just... motivated by peer pressure.
Sure. And I think there's always been in these Hollywood awards, politics, bias.
It's not like black actors were bad then and good now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why the Oscars mean nothing to me.
But I still don't think it's nothing. I still don't think they're going to choose, we need to choose a black person, so let's choose a garbage black movie. It's still going to be a good movie. And I think more to the point of the racist Oscars, it wasn't, I mean, I'm sure there was racism and still is blah, 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 blah. But I think more to that point is most of movies were white, and now there's a lot more diversity in movies in general.
I agree with that. I just said racism to get through it.
Yeah.
To make that sentence as fast as possible. That's the only reason why I use that word, because everybody knew what I meant.
You don't like Pearl Jam Alive?
No, I hate everything about
1,
2, 3, 4, 5 against 1, 5, 5.
Who else sounds like them?
Every band that came after them. I will say that.
So they're influential.
Yes, but you know who else is an original band that sucks dick? Korn. Korn, when nobody sounded like Korn.
Korn had I'll say this.
Nobody sounded like them.
I agree. And I'm not trying to sit here and say Korn deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, they will be, though.
Interesting. But I will say a couple of Korn songs are very good. They have a couple hits that are like, come on, that's a great song.
Sometimes people get together and they create a sound that's never happened before because it shouldn't have happened. And I think Korn is one of those
What's
bands.
Korn's most famous song? I'm not a big Korn fan, but their hit. What was their big hit?
For me to lay. That was
yeah, that was a good song.
Yeah, nobody thought to do Adam Sandler in the middle of a breakdown. You're just doing Billy Madison in the middle of a song.
But catchy Billy Madison.
Nobody had thought to do that. You know, Primus, another very original sounding band that we didn't need it. You didn't need to create that sound.
I don't know Primus.
Yeah, they're a little.
I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't know it. Never got into it. Korn was on MTV all the time. So
originality always isn't. Sometimes things are original because nobody should be doing it. That's what I think.
Not everything that's original goes mainstream.
Most things that are original don't go mainstream. Mostly it's the ripoff of the thing that gets
right. So Korn went mainstream.
Yeah, there's a very bad time in the culture.
It had a few catchy songs that were enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
You didn't enjoy any Pearl Jam song or any Korn song. You can't just admit if you close your eyes and listen to it, you go, "This is catchy. This is good."
No. I was in line to buy a Korn album when I was a kid. Like I liked them when I was a kid.
Yeah,
the one with the teddy bear on it with buttons for eyes. I was in line to buy that as a kid. And I liked it, but as I aged as an adult, I was like, this is the worst shit I've ever heard. I mean, I also liked like my fucking teddy bear blanket at the same time, but it's not like I carry that with me everywhere I go. I outgrew it. And Pearl Jam, I just don't like, but to their credit, I will say this. They have had a Grateful Dead
What's
arc.
the singer's name? Eddie Vedder. Eddie Vedder, yeah. He's a legend.
To their credit, they are the modern Grateful Dead. And I'll tell you why. Because
I've never heard that before. Is that are you the first person to say
this is my theory.
Okay.
The Grateful Dead had like not very many radio hits. They're mostly they were an arena-sized band that was based around their touring act. Pearl Jam has not had a hit.
Word of mouth. Grateful Dead was like a giant cult following.
There are so many bands in
Pearl Jam had hits.
No, wait, let me finish.
Okay.
There are so many bands that between 1992 and 1994 that had hits that will not sell out 2 nights in every town at a basketball arena. Pearl Jam has continued to even grow their fan base while putting out albums that their fans like, and they've just become a massive underground band like Phish or the Grateful Dead, where like they're arena level 2 nights. Like look at any other, you could look at the charts from 1992 to 1994 and look at the alternative rock bands and see if any of those motherfuckers could sell out the United Center 2 nights in a row.
I don't know if I agree with this theory. I think that Pearl Jam had way more massive commercial success and hits than Phish and Grateful Dead.
Well, not the Grateful Dead. American Beauty was a huge album. American Beauty for Grateful Dead, 1974. They had one huge album.
Right.
And Pearl Jam never got better than 10. That album was the only like #1 smash hit massive album. And then
But it was like the height of rock and roll.
But they never lost their draw. Ever.
Because they kept making decent stuff that was successful.
That was
maybe
not
it wasn't
on the radio.
Maybe it wasn't the top of the radio, but it was still on the radio. Doesn't Pearl Jam have their own Sirius XM station?
Yeah, but it's mostly live shows, which is exactly what the Grateful Dead has.
Does Grateful Dead have their own Sirius?
Yeah, they have a live
station
channel. Yeah.
That says something. I guess they are commercial success, both.
Yeah, they both would sell out football stadiums and shit without having a radio hit. Like, name a Pearl Jam song that came out in the 2000s. I can't.
I'm not a big enough fan.
That's 21
I'm
years.
not the person to ask, but someone could.
To go 21 years as a generous estimate, a conservative estimate rather, to not have a hit and still sell out a fucking football stadium?
Rolling Stones.
They had like 30 years of #1 hits. I mean, they like the Pearl Jam did not have the commercial success that the Stones had.
Paul McCartney.
The Beatles, dummy. What are you talking about?
You just said name a band that hasn't had a hit in 20 years or something. Neither of those people have.
Okay.
Rolling Stones or Paul McCartney.
Okay.
Bob Dylan.
Okay, let me put it this way. Let's have a band.
Bob Dylan doesn't even have a good voice.
Now he sounds like a ghoul. Have you heard his music now?
Sounds like he smoked cigarettes for 30 years.
It's scary. Like
I'd still pay to go see him though.
My sister put on his Christmas album, and
from when? I didn't know he did a Christmas album.
5 years ago, and it made her daughter cry. Like she was scared. Like it was Halloween music.
Like he doesn't add post processing to make his voice sound better than it is.
No, he's just like Merry Christmas. It just sounds like it sounds like a death rattle. Have you ever heard of death rattle?
He really loves music then, because he has enough money to just hang up the mic.
You know, like I'd say about 10 years ago. So he was probably 90 at that point.
Kind of like Cosby. Say what you want about him, but he loves stand up.
Yeah, I mean, if people said half the shit about me that they say about him, you would never see me in public again. You know, say I only had 30 accusations.
How many does he have?
Like 60, right?
Really? Oh, I thought it was like 30. 60 is a lot.
Whatever.
I mean, 30 is a lot.
Let's say he had 30. If I had 15, I'm not sending my avails in anywhere. Nobody, you would never hear from me. I'd get a nose job. I'd look like Michael
What's the point
Jackson.
of sending in avails after, no one's gonna, who knows? Would you open for Cosby?
Would I open for Cosby?
Right now?
No.
No?
No.
Wouldn't be worth it for you?
Wouldn't be worth it. First of all, the people who come to that are not going to want to see what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's where I disagree. I think that would be the best crowd ever.
No, it's going to be an older conservative black crowd.
I think he appealed to all races.
He did, but I'm saying who's going to come now?
You think the only people coming now are conservative black people? You don't think conservative white people would go see Cosby?
That's a good question, but in my mind, it's like because the only show he's done since then was that jazz club.
He's done a show?
He did one show.
Recently?
Yeah. He did a show.
I didn't hear about this.
I think it was when he just got out. I think he dropped in at a jazz club in Philly or something.
And they put him up?
I mean, it's not even. It was like a place where he knew he was like it was like an inside job.
Wow. I think I figured out how to open for Cosby. You donate all the money that he pays you to like an anti-rape thing or like women's thing.
Interesting. Did you see his Instagram account when he was in prison?
It was an actual Cosby. I didn't know this exists either. You know a lot about Cosby.
He had an Instagram account.
How did he do it from prison?
What are you talking about? They have the day room. They have like the rec room where there's computers and shit.
They do?
And sometimes they have phones in there. Depends on what level of security you're dealing with.
So if you're in a low security prison, they'll give you a cell phone with internet?
Dude, Bernie Madoff was playing tennis like in his prison.
Tennis is recreation. You could say, oh, that's sport.
It's a very leisurely sport.
Yeah, but I could see the argument, like why? Oh, you got to let them exercise and tennis. You're right, but you don't have to give them tennis. You could give them just track and weights or something. But I could see the argument for sport.
Right.
I don't see the argument for they need a phone and internet. Yeah.
No. Prisoners are on the internet. For sure, they're on the internet. I'm surprised you don't have listeners who.
I'm surprised then there's not more like prisoner influencers. Like someone
there's
on
a
the prison
lot
yard who has
after.
10 million followers.
A lot of people come out of prison.
You'd think they'd give them while they're in prison because there's all these prison TV shows that are popular.
Yeah.
You'd think, hey, what's up today? I'm at the yard. Like that would kill it, I feel like.
I don't know if you get a camera. I guess if you had a phone, you would get. But I feel like you're getting a brick phone. That's what I feel like you're getting. I feel like they probably have restrictions on your phone because they probably don't want you to have data in your thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Then you could be running illegal operations if you had the internet.
Well, they can see everything. It's like a shared network.
But now you have to pay someone to monitor the prisoner's activities. So
it's
not only are you
stimulating the
giving
economy?
them an unnecessary thing, and now you have to hire someone's whole job is to make sure they're not doing illegal things on it.
Right. Well, they
Something's
say like, don't they
crazy
say
about
it's like $100 and something thousand a year per prisoner to house them?
Yeah,
Some
I
crazy
think on
shit like that.
average. You know how if you're a drug addict but you're rich, you could go to like a really luxurious, amazing rehab.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting arrested and you're rich, I know that there was who was the guy who owned the island?
Epstein?
I know Epstein paid to have more luxurious prison stuff, but can the average person, like if I was going to jail right now and I had $10 million, could I get sent with that $10 million, use it to get sent to a better prison?
It depends on like what you were charged with. If it's a violent crime, you're not going to have a good chance doing that. Although the mafia boss, the head of, is it the Colombo family? Bernie Madoff's like best friend in his prison was a mafia boss. I forget who it was, but he got in a white collar prison. I don't know how he pulled that off.
Maybe he did a deal where if he ratted on people or something.
Yeah, it was probably that. So if you had something you could snitch on, but I think a violent crime, more often than not, you're not going to get to, no matter how much money you have.
Now, a federal white collar crime, are they all fairly decent prisons, or can you pay something to go to a nicer of the federal prisons?
Generally, just the way the system works, from what I've read about like the very few white collar criminals I've read into, I think they generally go to nicer minimum security prisons.
And do you think that's reasonable, or do you think they should go to bad prisons too?
I mean, a white collar criminal is not like, I'm not worried about Bernie Madoff shivving me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
so you think Bernie Madoff should be in a nice prison?
It's not that I support it, it's that I don't.
He died, right?
Yeah, he died.
What, cancer or suicide?
Cancer.
Cancer, okay.
Those are the only two options.
I knew it was, I just remembered it was one of those two. His son committed suicide.
Yeah, son committed suicide. Yeah, no,
I know my stuff a little bit.
I'm not supportive of Bernie Madoff going to a softer prison. What I'm saying is that that's not worth anybody's time fighting, because it's not like he's in the Mexican mafia. He's not.
And it's still not, even though he's in a nice prison, it's not nice.
I would put the mafioso. I don't support him being in there.
Even though he ratted a bunch of people out and maybe saved lives in the process?
Well, it doesn't matter. His cost is net negative. Do you remember what happened to Whitey Bulger? I don't
know who Whitey Bulger is.
Whitey Bulger is an Irish mobster who was on the run forever. They caught him when he was like 88 years old. They put him in prison. He's killed like 3 days later. They gouged out his eyes.
Because they put him in regular prison where they had people on the inside.
Yeah, put him in regular prison. Got fucking killed. But here's my thing about Bill Cosby's Instagram account.
Oh yeah, so
he had an Instagram.
Did he run it, or did someone else run it for him?
It seemed like he ran it, but maybe he didn't.
Insane.
Although he is blind. I don't know if that's true.
Like fully blind, or old person blind, where their vision has declined.
They said he's legally blind, but he also he pulled that old criminal trick where you look way more fucked up than you really are
to
for the case.
To feel bad.
And then he gets out and he's like, hey, he was totally different when he got out of prison. Right. He's like doing the worm.
Yeah.
But his Instagram account would highlight like celebrities, like comedians and like actors and stuff.
Him talking about them?
Yeah.
So kind of like OJ.
A lot like
OJ. Because OJ talks a lot of football on his Twitter, where he'll like comment on other athletes. And I imagine if OJ's talking about you, most of them are probably like, please don't talk about me.
That's what I'm imagining. Yeah. Could you imagine if you wake up and Bill Cosby is like, this is Ari Manis is
his stand-up is great.
I'm a huge fan. He's a rising comedian. Keep your eye on him.
You'd be like, no thanks.
As soon as I'm done serving this rape sentence, I'm going to fucking pour all of my money into funding a special for Ari Manis. Would you let Bill Cosby fund you a special if it was public? Because I know you would if nobody knew. But if everybody does know.
I'll tell you why it's not true what you just said. I know you would if nobody knew. To be honest, if I had a special that I wanted to make, I could pay for it to do it myself. Very good on a budget. So I don't need someone to fund me a special.
Okay, he comes in, he says, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a year's worth of headlining, real headlining, quality. We're going to fill out theaters.
Like I'll promote it.
Yeah, he'll promote it. And
Bill Cosby say yes, presents. And I would say yes, even though it's probably bad for my career. But I would also make a big public thing. All the money, all 100% of the money, not even like I'm going to pay for my living and then give the rest. 100% of the money from the Bill Cosby Presents Ari Manis tour is going towards rape victims.
And do you think what do you think the public's reception of that would be?
Mixed.
You think it'd be mixed?
I think it'd be mixed. I think a lot of people would be like, that's disgusting that you would work with him at all. And there'd be the haters. And some people would be like, hey, he's not turning down this opportunity and he's putting the money towards a good cause.
It's funny to use the terms of people who are against Bill Cosby as haters. That's a very...
Not people who are against Bill Cosby. People who are against Ari Manis going on the Bill Cosby Presents Ari Manis tour.
Yeah, all those haters.
I think it would
those 60 haters.
I think the tour it'd still be me going up for fun crowds and doing fun shows, and I would be using Bill Cosby's money towards a good cause. It'd be turning a negative into a positive.
Okay, Bill Cosby says no. you have to keep this money.
Then I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Because then I can't make
You can't
a defense
recover
for
from that.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
unrecoverable, and I can't say a good defense. Then people are like, well, why are you doing it? The only thing I could be like is,
Which
me.
of the really canceled comedians, like national scandal comedians, do you think has the best chance of making a full recovery? Like Netflix special back on TV?
maybe Louis?
I was thinking Louis too because he's smarter than all the other ones.
Well, because he's the only one who's made full-blown movies and TV shows on his own dime.
Yeah.
So if he made something, a TV show on his own dime, which I'm sure he'll do again, I would imagine at least,
Yeah.
and it was good enough, people would want it. But he might be at the point where he's like, fuck the world, I don't want that again. Because he also would make some money doing it on his own, selling it, that he might, even if he got offered a TV show on a network, he might say, I don't want to
I don't want the
that
headache.
again.
Have you seen
Yeah.
his set that he's touring with, the stage set?
I bought tickets to see him in Long Beach. Where did you see it?
I just saw a picture of it on Twitter.
Oh, there's a set.
Like
no, I
the
didn't
set
even know
piece?
there was one.
It's in light bulb font, like circle light bulbs. It says "sorry" in giant letters on the
Hilarious.
back. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I bought tickets to see him in Long Beach, but now I'm going to be on the road, so I sold them to someone else.
I'm going to see him in Oxnard or Ventura.
You got tickets?
Yeah, I got
That's
two
good.
tickets.
How much were
Me
they?
and my girlfriend. They were expensive. They were like
My tickets were, I think
70.
Yeah, like 75 each.
Yeah. I'm getting old, man. I'm buying I bought tickets to see a fight. $80 tickets.
What fight?
Terrence Crawford and
that a big one?
Sean Porter. It's big
Is that
for
boxing
fans.
or UFC?
Boxing. I don't really like UFC.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not to me because it's not everything. It's not a mixed art. The people who do it are
better.
incredible at it.
Right.
And there's a little bit of too much improv in MMA. It just doesn't. It's
Gotta
a little
be.
sloppy for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the boxing feels more
And
like
do
a
you
sport.
watch the Logan and Jake Paul fights, or you don't subscribe to that?
I watch them. I'm not above that shit. I mean, they
do.
always put good undercards. Like Jake Paul is pumping. Jake Paul is about to be the best thing that ever happened to women boxing.
Women.
Yeah,
Boxing.
he-
because he sets up a good women's undercard.
Well, he started Most Valuable Promotions, a boxing promotion. The only boxer he has signed to it right now is Amanda Serrano. It's only this woman. He's putting his empire behind this woman who's an incredible boxer. She's like an 8-weight division champion, and that's the only boxer he signed. I
Wow.
think it's the
So
man. The man has figured out trolling on a Zen level.
What you're saying is, even if you don't respect him as a boxer, he does love boxing and is starting a legitimate boxing
and
company.
None of these other people have put on women like he is. You know what I mean? Like there's Katie Taylor, Sinisa Estrada. There's a lot of great female boxers out there who just can't headline because nobody's put their fucking promotions behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like the WNBA.
So you follow women's boxing,
I love boxing. I love
Yeah.
it all.
and do you box yourself?
Just training.
You do.
I don't
you,
spar.
You do boxing training?
No, like pad work and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't get in a ring with anybody.
How come?
I'm old and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
but just light,
when I was a kid, I did.
light sparring with a helmet or whatever they're called.
Uh,
What do
I-
they call the boxing? Not helmets. but
Headgear.
Headgear.
Yeah, yeah.
Boxing headgear.
I think I would get mad. Also, I don't think there's any where I live, the gyms around me, and where boxing gyms are in general. I don't think there's any such thing as light sparring.
Really? The people, if you're in sparring, they're gonna go hard. Is what you're saying?
Boxers tend to not know what light sparring is. Like with MMA, like I've talked to people about this. People who train MMA, they said that you can go light with MMA, and people go light, but boxers, they
100
don't
or nothing.
understand. Like it's lighter than a fight, but it's still like. I mean, you're still just getting fucking punched all over. I mean, I don't really have any need. What's the point of training? What's that going to do for me?
Prepare you for the real world.
I have not been in a fist fight.
That's why you're
since
weak.
I was 20.
That's why you're fucking weak.
I've been in so many more fist fights than you.
You don't know how many
Granted,
fist fights I've been
I
in.
guarantee you it's less than 5.
Let me count. It's around there.
So what, 4?
I think 4. Well, do you count? Like elementary school fights?
No, because they can't do any damage.
Got it. So
Soft hands.
you're talking like 8th grade and above.
Yeah.
Like a real
Scrap.
scrap.
There's danger.
Yeah, I'd say 4
Yeah.
or 5.
I was in the army. I was in a lot more than those. And I was a nerd in the army. I got
You got bullied in the army?
I got bullied very bad in the army.
Really?
Super bad. Yeah, because first of all, basic training was brutal for me because I was a nerd.
Were you like Gomer Pyle?
No. Athletically, I could hang. I wasn't like
No, but we bullied like he was.
no, because he was bullied because he sucked at everything. I was just bullied. I could shoot. I was good at shooting. I was good at running. I was good at all that shit. I got bullied just because I was not artillery. Like I went to
Wasn't he was good at shooting too, right? That was the one
He
thing.
was good at shooting himself.
And others.
He didn't miss that one.
But wasn't that the one area he was like, oh, we might make a soldier out of you?
Yeah.
That was like the one thing he was good at.
Yeah. Of course, he's the prototype for the mass shooter.
Movie was ahead of its time.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. But yeah, no, in the military, I was a nerd and I went to Fort Sill. I was in an artillery. Every single person at my basic training was artillery.
To those who don't know, Brian was in the Army and then he was dishonorably discharged.
Oh, it was honorable discharge.
Honorable?
Yes.
Oh, I thought for some reason I thought you got kicked out.
I was asked to leave early, but it was an honorable discharge.
Tell us the story of being honorably discharged. Because you might have told me, but I can't remember it.
Well, it's kind of a bummer of a story. So let me.
Perfect.
When I was in the Army, I went in 2003 when I was 17 years old. And then.
You got your parents to sign it?
Uh-huh. I didn't leave. I signed up. I joined in March of 2003. And then I didn't leave until I was 18.
Okay.
So I left.
But you still had to
August.
get your parents to sign it because you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. My dad went down there with me, signed me up, told me I would hate it. I did hate it. I come from a long family of bad soldiers.
I think I would hate it too, but I really wanted to join when I was 17.
I didn't know what else to do. I sucked at school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just go where everybody who doesn't know what they want to do.
And there's something, there's something attractive about it. There's G.I. Joes, there's movies, it's athletic, it's cool, it's, there's a rock star aspect to being in the military.
Yeah, I mean, in the South, you're treated like a god if you're a veteran.
Yeah, you get women. Like,
I always get on the planes.
There's army whores. What are they called?
What?
Women who just fuck military guys?
I don't know what
there's no name for it?
No,
there's no like chuckle fuckers for comedians?
Well, the women when the Air Force,
you gotta think of a name if there isn't. That's crazy that there's not a term for women who fuck military guys.
There's got to be. Maybe I don't know it, but like the Marines were fucking the Air Force girls. The Marine guys were fucking the Air Force girls on my base, and we called the Air Force women Marine mattresses. That's that's the closest thing I got to that.
Maybe okay, but I wonder what a civilian girl who fucks Marines is called. Maybe it's also Marine mattress. Who knows?
I don't know, but
that's got to be. If that's not a term, we got to think of one down the road.
What do they call devil dogs? A devil whore? I don't know. I don't know what you would call them.
Anytime you explain to someone like a chuckle fucker, they laugh.
Yeah,
that's a funny one.
A chuckle fucker is a perfect. I mean that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about the military, but I was trying to get kicked out because I was trying to get home to take care of a sick parent, and there's a discharge.
Tell us the real story.
That's the real story.
Come on.
That's the real story.
Brian.
I was brainwashed for a minute.
Come on, let it out.
I dug the military for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
There's a home video of me.
I think anyone who joins digs it for a minute. No one, I would imagine very few people who join the military are like, I'm joining, but fuck the military.
Yeah.
Everyone who joined has.
But there's a difference between being like, I'm going to get some college money, but I was like marching in place.
Yeah, you're a patriot.
Yeah. I was brainwashed.
You're like, I'm going to serve my country.
There was no patriots.
I think that's most of the military. Most people who join the military feel that way. I would imagine very few of them are like, I'm doing it for the free college, that's it.
You're so wrong.
Really? Most people?
I would say 98% of the people I served with went into the military to better their financial situation. And
that's part of it. But I think they're also somewhat patriotic.
That happens later. That happens with.
So you're saying the military brainwashes patriotism.
Here's what happens. You join the military because you want to go to college. Back in the day, you got drafted and they sent you to Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And then you come home from Vietnam. The whole time, you didn't want to go. You got drafted. You served.
Yeah, that's different. When you're drafted, it's different. But the current military, when you join with your own free will.
People join for the bonuses. They join for the college. And then here's what happens. They come home and they get older and the world changes and they see Colin Kaepernick take a knee. And they've done nothing with their lives since they've been in the military. So the only thing that they can go up to somebody and say, every veteran can go ahead and say, hey, I was in the military. And people go, oh, really? What branch? It's the only interesting thing a fucking veteran can say. So then
I think it's interesting. It is interesting.
And
though.
so then
even if they have more to their story,
they become self-righteous.
Even if they're a
about
comedian or in a band, it's still interesting to say, oh, I was in the army.
Right. But that's the only thing a lot of these guys have to hold on to. So when they see somebody disrespect the flag, they're like, oh, this is a good opportunity for me. This is my whole identity. This is all I've ever done in my life. So let me get fucking emotional about this.
Uh-huh.
I don't like the troops. Okay, I was with the troops, and I'm not a fan of them. Some of the worst people I met in my life were troops.
Sure.
Absolute monsters.
But also good people.
The time we got Osama bin Laden, not Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein.
Mm-hmm.
I'm older. I was in when we got Saddam, not Osama. They call us into formation. It was early in the morning. First of all, this is how
Are you older than the SEAL who got Osama? Or
Rob O'Neill.
Yeah, are you older than him?
No, he's older than me.
Okay.
We're the same age or something. But I think he's older than me.
Yeah.
But so when we got Saddam, first of all, this is how cheesy the American military is. We're supposed to be liberating this country, right? We're supposed to be freeing Iraq from Saddam Hussein.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who found Saddam Hussein? The Iraqis found Saddam Hussein. They pulled him out of that hole. The 4th Infantry Division goes, no, get back in that hole. They put him back in the hole. Then
so that they could get
they
credit for
refilm it, them pulling him out.
That makes sense.
Of course, it makes sense from
Yeah.
a PR point of view. But if you were really trying to liberate a country,
You would want
you
their
would
own
want
people.
the own people to tear down their own despot. You know what I mean?
At least that's what really happened.
Yeah.
We know the truth.
So
Was that public information?
I don't know.
Like, how'd you hear that? Because I didn't know that.
I heard it from my friend Tom, who was in the 4th ID
Got it.
at the time.
Got it. What's the 4th ID?
4th Infantry Division.
Got it.
They have like clovers on their back. It's
Is
just,
that a special forces thing? Or
it's
no?
just regular infantry.
Got it.
Grunts.
Got it.
Yeah. But
That's crazy that regular infantry they would send in to that hole. You'd think if they found Saddam Hussein hole, they'd be like Green Berets or Navy SEALs who would get sent in.
right, because I don't know the story of how he got caught, and I'm sure it's out there, and I'm sure somebody's screaming at
They
it.
stumbled across it. It wasn't like
I don't know, but for some reason they were there. No, the SEAls definitely took out Osama though.
Yeah.
But funny story about that guy.
That's on video, isn't it?
Well, I think the military has it on video.
Oh, it's not.
It's not on
video
YouTube.
hasn't been leaked.
No, I don't think
I
it's
would
been
have.
leaked.
For some reason, I thought it was. For some reason, I thought
Saddam
the
Hussein's
footage-
hanging was leaked.
Yes.
Yeah, on a shitty old cell phone.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to abandon that Saddam Hussein story because I have a funnier story about Rob O'Neill. My friend is.
I still want to get back to you honorably discharged.
Okay, sure. But my friend, his cousin is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because of him, I'm in a green room with the Foo Fighters just because I know his cousin.
You're in a room with Dave Grohl.
Yeah, we're at Fenway Park.
Pretty awesome.
They're playing Fenway Park,
Wow.
which is Mecca for me. Red Sox just won. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced. But
Yeah. And you're in with a rock and roll legend,
Yes.
talented guy who you're a giant fan of. You love the Foo Fighters.
I don't hate the Foo Fighters as much as I hate Pearl Jam.
Okay, good.
But
I like the Foo Fighters a lot.
he's telling a story to us, and you know how you're like, God, my stories stink. Like when you're hanging out with somebody like that guy, like Dave Grohl.
Or even if it's a good story, you like don't want to say it because you think they don't want to hear you talk.
Right.
Or at least I have that fear. When I'm around someone who's like super successful, I'm like, they don't want to hear my stories.
I don't.
Yeah.
And that's the point of this story
Yeah.
is I don't tell any stories around him either. And he's also so big that it's impossible for him to name drop. Him talking about these giant names is just who he's around.
Right.
There's nothing special.
Of
about
course,
it.
yeah.
So he's telling a story about Rob O'Neill came to Madison Square Garden to see the Foo Fighters. And apparently he uses this Osama thing as like a backstage pass to everything. He just walks around and like, I'm the guy who killed Osama bin Laden and gets wherever he wants, which is exactly what I would do.
You would?
100%. You should see how many military discounts I get every week. Just with
Like where?
Home Depot, Denny's.
Home Depot gives military discounts?
Yeah, dude.
How much?
10%.
10% on every Home Depot purchase
Your
you
whole
get?
purchase.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Man, I should have joined.
So he goes, he's at Madison Square Garden. It's Rob O'Neill, the guy who killed Osama bin Laden, Paul McCartney, John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, the bass player, and some other guy, I forget who, possibly our friend. And Rob O'Neill's telling everybody who he is. And Dave Grohl goes to Paul McCartney. He goes, "Hey, this is Rob, who Osama bin Laden guy. Paul McCartney's deaf. He can't like hear anything. He's been playing music forever." So he goes, "Hey, Paul, this is Rob. He was a Navy SEAL who shot Osama bin Laden." And Paul McCartney goes, "Cool," and then walks away because he didn't hear what he said at all. So that's the story that he had just told us.
Yeah.
We walk away, and there's another guy in the green room who's like, he corners me. He's like, "I got to talk to Dave. I got to tell him the coolest story." And I just heard that throwaway story of his.
And you're like, you don't have the coolest story.
No, you don't have the coolest story. I felt bad for him. And he was like, "I'm going to tell you." He goes, "Dude, my first kiss was to a Foo Fighters song." And I was like, "Let me save you."
That's the cool story?
Yeah. And I was like, "Let me save you some time. He just told me a story that involved a guy from Led Zeppelin, a Beatle, and the guy who killed Osama bin Laden. So I don't know how enthralled he's going to be with your little story.
Yeah.
And then of course, wet blanket. Everybody looked at me like I just ruined the vibe for like a whole corner of the room.
Because you said that mean
I
thing
literally said that thing out loud
to the guy.
I was trying to save him some embarrassment.
But everyone didn't like that you said it?
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought people would be like, yeah, you're right.
It was his girlfriend and a couple other people. It was kind of a bummer of a story. So I got kicked out of the military. Here's how I tried to get. I was trying to get kicked out to go take care of a sick parent.
Come on. We want the real story, Brian.
That's really what it was. There's a thing called a hardship discharge. If you can get the, I don't know if, the rules have all changed, but this is back in 2005 or whatever. If you could prove that both your parents if one of your parents was incapacitated,
Terminal illness or something,
is sick, and the other one still has to go to work, so there's nobody to stay home to take care of them,
you can get
then
out.
you can get out. It's honorable discharge.
Huh.
And they didn't.
That'd be easy to fake.
It is not easy to fake.
I could fake it.
I got caught faking it, and I had a doctor lying for me.
Wait. You got caught and they still let you off?
No, they did not let me out for that. I did not get that discharge because they were like, we put too much money into you. And they found out that it's not a continuing. My mom she had a date. She was terminally ill. They were like, you have this long. So it's supposed to be for a situation that they don't know when it's going to resolve.
Yeah, indefinite. I have to take care of her indefinitely.
Yeah. So after that.
If she's dying, you got to stay away from her.
yeah, exactly.
Hey, if your mom's gonna live a long time and sick, you could get out. But if she's gonna die anyway, stick with us.
They literally said it like that. They were like, "We put $1 million or whatever dollars into your training. It's just not worth it for us to cut our losses with you."
There's no way they put $1 million into your training.
The security clearance alone was insane. They interviewed people I went to high school with who I hadn't talked to in like 4 years.
Cool.
They found my friend, an old friend of mine, at a Starbucks, and he was stoned out of his mind. And the FBI came to ask him about me, and he emailed me livid because he thought he was getting arrested for being high.
And you're like, I didn't tell him.
I didn't know they were going to talk to you. They were asking me about my relationships with people who I knew in junior high who are now in jail by then, and I didn't even know who the fuck they were talking about. They put a lot of money into that shit because I was anyway. It doesn't matter. But so then I decided, well, whatever. I'm just going to fail. I'm just going to fail at everything. I'm going to do bad at my job. I'm going to go AWOL. So I go AWOL and I go to an Iron Maiden concert in Columbus, Ohio, an Ozfest.
But don't you get dishonorably discharged for going AWOL? Can't you go to like military prison and shit?
Here's what happened. I went AWOL to watch Iron Maiden in Columbus, Ohio. I come back. I was just AWOL for 4 days. Left on a Thursday, came back on a Monday. Thought it was enough, right? So then
enough to get kicked out or enough to, what do you think? Enough to what?
To get kicked out.
Got it. But you didn't have the fear like, I might just be punished severely for this. And
I was 19 years old. I was not thinking like consequentially. I was just trying to get out. I come back. Turns out 3 people in my unit had been arrested that weekend. Domestic abuse, DUIs, shit like that. So they didn't report my AWOL because their unit was looking so bad over the weekend. And they were like, we knew you'd come back. And so they just punished me off the books. They didn't report
like
me AWOL.
PT.
Yeah, extra duty. Yeah. I had to like mow lawns and build brick retaining walls and all this bullshit. Then I was like, I'll try to fail a drug test. I had been sober my whole life. I started doing drugs to try to fail a drug test.
Which drugs?
Mostly weed.
Okay.
And so I smoked weed, and then like I told the guy who was taking my piss, I was like, I smoked weed, I'm trying to get out. And he goes, man, if they tested all this piss, there'd be no fucking military. He goes, they test at most 13% of this piss. So then I didn't piss hot. And then I tried.
Meaning they didn't test your piss?
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they only send like a few of them out.
Right, that makes sense.
It's a volunteer army. You can't be kicking people out for weed. You'd have no fucking military.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah. So then I try a conscientious objector, and I write
What's that?
It's like saying I no longer believe in the use of violence as a method of diplomacy.
Yeah.
And you have to prove that you changed your whole ideology.
And you doing all these things is probably making everyone around you hate you, right?
Some people loved it. Some people hated it. It depends on how they feel about the military.
Right.
I wasn't in a combat unit. I was in a nerd world. I was in military intelligence. So there isn't that camaraderie. There isn't that hoorah bullshit.
Right.
I think most people didn't even give a shit what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because we're not
It didn't affect them.
Yeah, we're not running around.
Yeah.
They're not worried about me letting them die in a foxhole.
Right.
So then I do the conscience objector thing, and the guy, my captain, brings me into a room, and he puts 2 discharges down on the paper. He goes, here's one discharge, here's another. You can get this conscience objector thing. Most likely it won't get approved. If it does get approved, it has to go all the way to the Pentagon. It has to get signed off by this person, this person, this person, this person. It'll take months for you to get even an answer. He goes, here's one that we can do battalion level. It's an honorable discharge. It's going to say you have a personality disorder in the bottom. But it's an honorable discharge.
So you got to kick it out for mental illness?
Yeah, they said I was ungovernable or something. They said I had a personality disorder because I was trying so many different things.
I could see that. Yeah, you're mentally ill.
Mentally sick. But they so they said that personality disorder thing, and nobody looks at your extended so you have an abbreviated discharge paperwork that just says honorable. Why would you look into an honorable discharge? And so you have the long form and the abbreviated. The long form says personality disorder. The abbreviated says
honorable discharge.
Just honorable discharge. Nobody looks.
What do you mean? Who are you worried that's looking? You mean like jobs?
Yeah.
Do they even see that you're honorably discharged? I would just not tell them anything.
Yeah.
You're saying, if I did a background check on you, it says honorably discharged?
Yeah, I was having an honorable discharge.
Oh, I didn't realize that was like if I didn't realize that shows up on a background check.
Yeah, it's called an early separation too online. So it's early separation, reason for separation, personality disorder. But it's honorable discharge. So nobody looks into it, but you get veterans preference for jobs and stuff. Like if you say you're a veteran, you get preference.
Got it.
So why wouldn't I say that? That's how I got this job here.
Yeah, we do veteran preference.
Veteran preference.
We do, and background checks. We do all those things. Yeah. We're a real operation here where we file our taxes here.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't. I need to I'm sure I'm not running the business the way it's supposed to. I just don't know how.
You should bring in somebody who can help you do that.
Can't afford it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You don't want somebody who does that shit for free.
Right.
I'll fix your business for free. It's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
But I figured if we get to the government's not going to care what we do until we're making money. And then when we're making money, I will hire someone to fix all that shit.
100%.
Yeah.
That sounds logical to me.
Yeah. Like I was reading some article about how everyone's scared that they're going to be audited, but it's like, you're not audited unless you have tons of money coming in. The government doesn't audit people who make $50,000 a year. It's not worth their time.
Sometimes they do. My friend Shakes, I can say their name because it's a nickname.
He's an auditor?
No. Got audited. And is a teacher.
And some
back taxes for 7 years. They didn't pay taxes.
Oh, so he deservingly got audited.
But they didn't know that before the audit, I don't think.
Oh, really?
They
so
probably did.
I think they knew.
They must have known.
That's why. They're
saying this out loud, they must have known.
What I'm saying is, if you pay some sort of tax, and you're making a modest salary, you're fine. It's if you're rich and not doing your taxes, you don't do your taxes at all. Then
what is an audit? I don't come from people who get audited.
I don't know anyone's been audited either, but I know the basic idea. Right? I don't know. No, I don't think so.
What's your dad do?
He's retired now. He was an emergency room doctor.
He would stay in the emergency room his whole career.
Yeah, he was an emergency room doctor for
that's a choice,
30
right?
years.
Like you can move into that's called general surgeon.
Yeah, exactly.
But you could move into a specific surgery, right?
You would have to train to do so if you wanted to do that. So if you wanted to be like a plastic surgeon, you'd have to.
Is your dad like a lefty?
Writing wise?
No. Like politically?
I think he leans left. I don't think he's like super passionate.
I think somebody who works entirely their whole life in the emergency room is probably.
Oh no, there's a lot of career ER doctors.
Really?
It's ER doctor is not a thing that people are like, I'll do ER for a few years and then move on to this. People obviously do move around still if they go there and don't like it, but all his friends also worked in the ER for years.
He needs to know how to do everything.
A ER doctor is like, you know a little bit about everything. You don't
You're
have
like a Shohei Ohtani type.
But Shohei Ohtani is amazing at everything.
Mm-hmm.
General physicians typically, if you went to the ER right now and you needed a back surgery, they would put you to a back surgeon. They wouldn't just like, well, we got it. They don't just do everything. So
what does he do? He just sews you up?
He would sew you up. If there was an emergency surgery, he would have to do that, like things like that. But if he was like, if you're like, my back, he would call in a back doctor to come in, type of thing.
So, because when I go to the ER, I never see a doctor.
Well, then that
Pretty
means
much.
you've never needed it. It's always been pretty
Yeah,
minor. then.
it's pretty much
Yeah,
just
yeah.
nurses and shit.
Yeah, so he would come in.
Corona,
look
when
at people.
I saw a doctor for like 1 second while I was in the hospital with Corona.
Yeah, I think most people who go in do see a doctor, but it's for a second, and then the doctor will be like, unless it's something that he needs to be there, he'll delegate it to a nurse. Nurses have a way tougher job than doctors, for the most part.
Did me having to go to the hospital with COVID, did that reinforce your beliefs at all?
About that, I don't care about COVID.
About not being, vaxxed?
If anything, wouldn't that do the opposite and make me want to get vaxxed if you went to the hospital for COVID?
But I was post-vax.
Oh.
Didn't you say something to me about this?
Uh,
You were making fun of me for going to the hospital.
Listen, I acknowledge that people who are vaxxed have less severe conditions to when they get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not worried about. I'm not scared of getting. I think people have this thing that, oh, you must be scared of the vaccine. It's not that I'm scared of the vaccine. I'm just not scared of getting COVID.
Right.
I'm not scared of the hospital. I'm not scared of dying. I'm not scared of getting COVID.
Are you scared of needles?
I don't want them, but I'm not scared.
Do you have any tattoos?
No, but not because I'm scared. I just haven't thought of anything.
Would you
that
get
I
a
want.
tattoo?
Yeah. If I thought of something that I was really passionate about. I was thinking, so I have I was thinking about getting my vaccination barcode tattooed on me.
Yeah, I don't think you should do that.
Why not?
That's just a stupid tattoo.
Why? Think about this. West Hollywood now and in San Francisco and traveling, you need to show, not traveling domestically, but internationally, you need to show a vaccine, right?
Right. But
So it'd actually be convenient. It'd be a functional tattoo.
no, it would not be a functional
Yeah,
tattoo.
you'd say scan my arm.
No, because you're going to get a new QR code every year because you have to get this vaccine like you get a flu shot. You don't.
Oh, we don't know that yet.
I mean,
You think they're going to start saying now? So right now the rule is to go to a WeHo restaurant, you need to show proof of vaccination. You think in a year from now you're going to need to show proof of 2021 vaccination?
yes,
Really?
because
I don't think so.
if you look at the Pfizer vaccine, it's like there's a big story about how it's after 6 months, it's like
Worthless.
worthless.
Yeah.
So it's got like a shelf life.
Oh, I agree that people are going to get reoccurring vaccines, but I don't think that they're going to require.
With
to
all the
to go to
informa-
a restaurant, I don't think they're going to say you need a 2021 vaccine. But I
I-
could be wrong.
I
I
think
never thought they would require them to get into a restaurant, period. So,
I think that tattoo is going to be completely useless.
well, then it'll
you're
just
just
be.
going to end up with 19 different QR codes.
That could be kind of fun.
tattooed all over you.
That could be kind of fun too.
I don't know what you.
But no, I'm not actually going to get that tattoo.
What do you do for fun?
I like rock climbing. I like walking and hiking. I like playing catch, baseball. I like watching movies and TV shows. I'm saying it in a sexy voice.
Yeah, I'm getting
I
turned on.
like surfing Reddit.
Surfing Reddit.
Yeah, I like
What's your number one
making funny stuff.
thread? What do you check first when you go on Reddit?
I check a few different things.
The unlicensed therapy subreddit.
I don't think that exists. I definitely didn't make it if it does. No, it doesn't exist. I think I'd know about it if it did. That'd be weird if I didn't know about it. Maybe it does. I don't think it does. And if it did, it would have like 6 members. Can you start a subreddit with no? Can anyone start could I start up make an unlicensed therapy subreddit that has 5 members, or do you need a certain amount?
I don't know. I've never started a subreddit.
Yeah, neither do I. Because maybe I should make one. I like. Your question was what subreddits do I like? Shower thoughts is a good one, which is basically now just tweets, people's tweets put in the shower thoughts. But I like those. And
I'm just trying to picture you unwinding.
I don't read Reddit when I'm unwinding. When I'm unwinding, I get a cold liquid death.
Fill it with a liquid IV.
No, I don't.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. Just regular water.
Anybody else? Any other sponsors?
Oh, now I see what you're doing. I get a cold liquid death. I fill it up with some liquid IV, shaking around.
Yeah.
And I usually just lay in bed and watch a movie or TV
Porn.
show, unwinding. I do watch porn, but not to unwind. Porn is just.
So you masturbate a lot, you said in the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah,
You
but
jerk
it's
off.
not an unwinding exercise. That's just habitual.
It's habitual? Would you say
Yeah.
you're a chronic masturbator? Like more than the average person?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The average
Really?
person is like once a day, I would
Yeah.
say, is average. I'm at least twice a day.
At least.
At least.
That's on a busy day.
Yeah.
Have you ever jerked off in that bathroom right there?
No, I'm not an addict. An addict, well, based off the definition of addict, to me, I am an addict, but based off the definition of addict, it has to like affect your work life or your personal life and stuff like that. And I can't find a.
I remember when I was
thing that it
drinking,
has, except for that I'm low energy.
looking on the rules for what an alcoholic is, and it was like you drink 3 to 5 days a week, and I was like, oh, fuck.
No, I don't think that is.
That's what it said.
No, because if you had one glass of red wine 3 days a week, I don't think anyone would think you're an alcoholic. I think, isn't the definition of an addict, it has to affect your life negatively?
I would imagine. Well, what about functioning alcoholics? That's a term.
Yeah, but functioning alcoholic, it still affects them negatively because they're drunk.
But they're functioning, so it's not a problem, right?
But functioning means...
I always fancied myself a functional alcoholic.
Functioning to me means, hey, I'm still getting through life, but if they weren't an alcoholic, they would be more productive and healthier.
Interesting.
They're not killing... functioning alcoholic might be destroying their liver, but still keeps their job and their friends. To me, that's a functioning alcoholic. Like, I get shit-faced every night, so I'm not productive, but hey... my friends still like me and I have a job and I pay my bills. That's like a functioning alcoholic.
I think I was a functioning alcoholic because I was still teaching and I was drunk every night. I was
Teaching
hungover at
children?
work. Yeah.
So
But I
you don't
wasn't
even remember what you're doing with these kids, basically. is
I
what
was
you're saying.
sober as a fucking judge or whatever they say.
You're saying you just dealt with teens, preteens, boys, girls, and you didn't even remember a thing.
I don't like the way you said boys and girls.
Girls, boys, teens, preteens.
No, I taught preschool.
Did you actually?
Yeah, for 6
You were a
years.
preschool teacher for 6 years?
Yeah. When
That
I started
sounds like
comedy, that's what I was doing.
One of the worst jobs.
I loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
Aren't you like preschool people are like peeing their pants and shit, right?
Sometimes. Yeah, it happens.
I don't want to deal with that ever.
Everybody is always obsessed with the bathroom part. It's not the major part of the job.
Okay, you're dealing with a lot of crying kids.
There is a lot of crying.
No thanks.
I liked teaching children how to handle conflict.
Sometimes when people cry, it's kind of cute. Some
yeah.
pretty girl cries, but it's kind of like a sweet tear, like, I'm sad. Is that weird?
That's kind of strange.
Yeah. Not like, a
Is it-
loss in the family or...
Do you feel like if you make a
pain,
girl
like-
cry,
like
then
a
that
boo-boo?
confirms? But do you feel like if you make a girl cry, that confirms that she cares about you? Is that what you like about it?
No, not if I don't like making girls cry. I don't like making anyone cry.
Okay.
But I'm saying sometimes if you see a girl crying,
Mm-hmm.
it can be kind of cute.
I don't know if I've ever had that moment.
I guess I'm fucked up.
I don't think I've ever had that
If
moment.
it's because of me, it's very upsetting. I don't like hurting anyone. I don't need, not even just if they're upset, period, because of me. That's a bad feeling.
That's good.
But if she was like, I'm trying to think of an example that would be kind of cute. Like a sad movie. If she watched a sad movie and she's crying. It's kind of cute.
You find that cute?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me. But I would be interested to hear what other people think about that. I don't know. Maybe that's more. Maybe
Probably
more,
that I'm fucking weirdo.
one of us is
It
twisted.
sounds weird.
I don't know which
It
one
sounds
of us.
weird to think that someone crying is cute. When I say it, it sounds weird.
Yeah, I'm not into that at all. Preschoolers crying.
I'd like to see you cry too.
You know what makes me cry? I've been crying. I'm getting older.
You've been crying a lot?
You know what makes me cry?
Huh.
Ring walks to the ring. Boxers walking to the ring for a championship fight brings me to tears.
So like joyful tears, you're saying, like you're proud of them. You're like,
It-
oh my God, they're their best selves.
It's a double-edged sword, I guess, if I can say that. I'm proud of them. Like I love seeing greatness. I love greatness. I'm not bothered by greatness at all. I'm bothered by not greatness treated as greatness. That bothers me. But when I see somebody like when you're fighting for a heavyweight championship, you're great. That's just there's no denying it because it's combat. You can't fake that.
I don't follow boxing like you do, but I want to know this because I've been thinking about it when I watch these like Jake Paul and Logan Paul fights. And obviously they're to another degree, but not in terms of talent, but it's for, like the business of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so clearly strategic who they pick and who the money picks. It's like it seems like MMA is the same way where you're not necessarily watching, if it's a belt fight, you're not watching necessarily the two best fighters. Like it's
that happens. But here's my
in
thing.
boxing, I want to see the best fighter about the best fighter, but there's certain fighters that are like, I'm never going to fight that guy because I'm scared of him and I only want to win. Doesn't that? It seems like that happens.
Of course that happens. But to
Yeah.
even be in the conversation to get a title fight, even when like say like the biggest example of that is this year Canelo Alvarez fought this guy Avil Yildirim. He was a nobody and Canelo obliterated the guy. So that backs up what you're saying. But most of the time to be in the conversation for even a belt, even if you're not the second best, still to be in the top 5
Right, you
of
still have
something,
a good record, and
you're amazing.
you're a beast,
You're an
yeah.
amazing human being.
Yeah,
Just like most of us, if they hit us once, we would crumble. And these guys, even when they're getting their asses kicked, they're still eating like 100 punches from the hardest
Right.
punches. They're amazing human beings.
Yeah.
And I applaud their greatness, and it fills me with emotion, but also it just reminds me of how there's not like, I'm watching these guys walk the ring and I'm like, there is nothing I'm great at. I'm good at comedy. I'm very good at comedy. I feel like I personally believe in myself enough to say I'm very good. Great? No way. Great is like, so to sit there and realize you just have such a mediocre fucking existence.
and then
So those are the two things
so you're saying you're joyful because
of how
they're doing that,
to
but
see
you're kind
anybody
of like,
accomplish anything.
but then you're also sad because you're like, I will never be great at anything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, because to be like an elite, I'll never be elite at anything. I mean,
not with that attitude, Brian.
listen, it's just realistic. There's many of the most famous comedians are not elite. They're not great. And there are a few great comedians who nobody knows. So like,
What about, wouldn't you say you're an elite roaster?
I mean, there's not a lot of competition, dog. I mean, the king of it is Jeff Ross. It's not like it's not a cool pool of people.
And he has writers.
Yeah, he is like me. No, I mean, if Greg Giraldo was still around, I would say I'm no Greg Giraldo.
You sound kind of like him.
I love him. He's one of my favorites. But he's fucking dead.
No, just even in your voice.
Oh, yeah.
Not like your comedic voice, your actual
No, our
voice.
comedic voices are very different because I don't snort meth off of knives in the back of strip clubs. Very
Not
different,
yet.
very different lifestyle. Yeah, no. So I just like when I just see these dudes that are just fucking.
So you wish you were great, but you don't believe in yourself. You're self-conscious about your skills.
I would no because because for me it's art. It's always been art. So it's not even that I'm like combat is such pure greatness. There's nothing you can say after you whoop a guy's ass. You know what I mean? Like you can't say like, well, the crowd was weird that night. There's literally nothing
No
you
excuses.
can. There's no excuses. Your ass was beat. So
Was it the last Dustin Poirier fight versus Connor, or Connor wasn't he saying like, your wife's in my DMs, like as he like can't move because he's all fucked
they're putting
up.
an air cast around his leg. The
and
guy,
he's like, your wife's in my DMs, and you're just at that point,
It's
you're
embarrassing.
like, yeah, it's embarrassing.
it's humiliating.
yeah,
So when you beat somebody's ass,
man, how the mighty had fallen.
I know.
Right there.
Well, I mean, how do you?
You almost felt bad for him,
He's.
even though he's the cockiest guy.
You know why he's still
in
not
fighting.
good, and like Khabib stayed good after he got famous. If you watch Ultimate Fighter and you watch Conor grow up, his goal was to become as rich as possible to take care of his family. His whole goal was to get out of poverty.
And he did that.
And he did that. So then he lost his motivation. Khabib wanted to be a warrior. So he was going to be good forever. Like as long as he stayed in the ring, his motivation was to be a warrior. Conor's was to escape poverty. Both noble, both great that they accomplished that. But you're not going to stay good if your whole goal was to make money and then you have money. Why
And
are you
then
still going to fight?
Your goal.
Yeah, he has no
It's a good
motivation.
theory. But he looked like he was in great shape and trained pretty hard.
Of course. Well, I mean, first of all, he's going to be in great shape. He's been training since he was a kid. I mean, you can fall out of shape, but I mean, it's easy for him to get ripped. Those
Right.
muscles are there. But he's not going to be a warrior like that. Like, yeah, it's just not going to happen. You got people like Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather would cry almost after every win he ever had. It meant so much to him to win.
Yeah, he was a winner.
Yeah. So it didn't matter how rich he was. He still wanted to win every time. He was in the gym in between fights. Even if he had no fight on the books, he was in the gym. So, I mean, those guys, they make me cry without fucking, because it's just like there's nothing you can say.
See, I wouldn't cry from that, but the movie version of it, I would cry.
'Cause you need strings and
I
stuff?
need the strings in the story, yeah.
Yeah,
I need the
yeah.
background story. Like,
I feel it
if
all
I
in.
win this fight, I could take care of, like, my family, you know. like that
You
home.
need to hear it.
Yeah,
need to be
yeah.
spoon-fed
If
to
I just see the fight on TV, I'm like,
I've watched enough. Rockies are some of the only movies that have made me cry.
Oh yeah, I'd cry during Rockies.
Rocky 3 when Mickey dies?
Dude,
are you
I'd
kidding
cry
me?
during Rocky 17. I don't care.
Rocky just makes you cry.
I cried during the newest. Rocky's not in the newest Rocky, right? Or he is?
Creed 2? That's one of the only ones I
Creed
didn't
2?
see.
I think he's. I can't even remember.
I
if
haven't
he's in
seen
it.
Creed 2, and I haven't seen the one that's just called Rocky Balboa.
They're good.
That was the one that was like
They're
Rocky
still
6.
good. They're
and Creed
still
2.
good. Oh, and then this is name dropping. The Stallone sisters have recorded in here.
I've produced them. They FaceTimed Sylvester.
Oh
Stallone.
yeah, that one. That almost made me cry.
That was the sweetest story I've ever heard in my life.
What a nice guy. And then he's on the phone and he's like, "When are you gonna be home?" She was like, "This is Rocky's wife, Sylvester Stallone's wife. She's FaceTiming Sylvester Stallone's real life." And he goes, "When are you gonna be home?" And she goes, "I'll be home in 20 minutes." And then he goes, "That's too long."
It was dead serious too. And he told the
cute.
He told the sweetest-ish story about meeting her, and I'm not going to break it down because I don't want to knock the guy because it's just like it was a pretty sweet story about meeting her. But like the fact that
Actually, I don't even think that story was that sweet.
it really wasn't.
No, that wasn't. But that moment was sweet.
But his feelings were
The story
sweet.
actually made you go, "What was he up to?"
Yeah. The story made you kind of
I mean, not what was he up to. It made you go, he was pretty Hollywood.
yeah, very Hollywood.
Yeah.
But the fact that he seemed as taken with her as at this point as he was back then in the 90s whenever he met her, pretty crazy. Because
And do you trust it as like do you think that moment was genuine, or do you think he knew he was on a podcast, or do you think both?
I think he knew he was on a podcast. I think he knew, and I think it was genuine because I don't think he puts any weight to a podcast. I mean, the guy.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, does he even know he's in his 60s? He's probably like, what's a podcast?
Yeah, it's not the Tonight Show.
Right.
He's used to going on like Fallon. Yeah. I'm sure he doesn't give a shit. I'm sure it was legit. And, isn't it weird though that he talks like an old boxer?
To me, he didn't talk like an old boxer. He talked like an old dude from the East Coast.
Did you see the last Rambo?
I think I did.
The last Rambo is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life.
You thought it was that bad?
Yeah. The one where he had, like, if you look at the credits, it's all these long European names because he had to go to Bulgaria because nobody would finance it here. So it's all filmed in Bulgaria.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought the last Rambo was a studio movie. Wasn't it studio?
I mean, I saw it in an AMC. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think.
No, but they 100% filmed it in Bulgaria. Except it couldn't get any funding.
I thought it was a decent movie.
The premise was he was tricking Mexicans to sneaking into the country illegally, and then he kills them when they get over the border.
Have I not seen the newest Rambo? I don't remember
His
this.
daughter goes and parties in Mexico and gets kidnapped by the cartel. And instead of going there and taking care of business,
That's Taken.
he redoes his whole compound. He makes his whole tunnel system under his house with like weapons and shit everywhere and tricks them into coming over the border. It felt very much like a very on the nose like allegory for like cartel immigration. Tricks the cartel to coming into America and then just annihilates
Kills
them.
them all.
It ends with him ripping a guy's heart out. It's fucking.
Maybe I didn't see the newest Rambo. I gotta watch it.
The script is the worst garbage you've ever.
Do you remember what it's called or what number it is?
I think it's called Last Blood.
Okay, I just for myself have to know what the IMDb rating is. Oh my god, it's 11 o'clock. Last Blood, IMDb Rambo 5. Because I base movies a lot on their IMDb rating. I've typically 6.1, which isn't bad.
What year is that?
That is 2019.
Yeah, that's the one.
6.1 isn't good, but it's above a 6 is like an entertaining, okay movie. If it's in the 5s, it's probably bad.
That movie has the worst script, but it's so bad it's good. It's almost got like a Room quality about it. Like,
no, I can't believe that. It wouldn't have a 6.1 if it had The Room.
Dude, the way he sets up, like he's just like
The Room.
His niece is riding around on a horse, and he's like, you're the only girl I ever loved.
The Room, just to give you context of how bad The Room is on IMDb, has a 3.7. Half the score of Rambo.
By critics or by audience?
Audience. It's always audience.
It's always audience?
On IMDb. That's why I align more with it. So I actually personally, Rotten Tomatoes, which is critics, I don't align with snobs. I align with more. Is it good or not? Can I watch it?
Right. The famous one was the Chappelle Gadsby one. Remember that comparison? Chappelle had like 0 by critics and 100 by audience,
and the other was
Gadsby
the
had like
opposite.
100 by critics and 0 by the audience.
Exactly. So it's like critics are.
Dude, he's riding around on a horse with his niece, and he's like, if anything ever happened to you, it would destroy my life. I never loved anybody as much as I loved it. Just shoving the narrative into your face, and then she gets kidnapped. And he's just like, I wish I could have said goodbye. It's like the worst script you've ever read in your life.
You're a critic. You see, you're a Rotten Tomatoes critic. I bet you.
I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes because I like a lot of garbage. So
if anything in the description of a review is talking about the cinematography or the shots
I
or
didn't
the
say
coloring,
anything about that.
I'm out.
I'm talking about literally the words you hear.
The screenwriting ability. Was it fun? Was there blood? Was there Rambo?
There was.
It was good.
It's super old Rambo.
Violent.
Dude. It had that Robert, in The Irishman, and Robert De Niro's kicking that guy's ass, and he looks super old. That's what Rambo looks like. It's just like a very old body moving around, and then a double.
See, I thought The Irishman, they did a good job too.
This is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, okay.
I love that movie. So you can't.
Too long, but good.
I don't understand what this too long thing.
Because it was slow. It can be like.
But that's the point of the movie.
Like I watched the new Justice League, the Zack Snyder edit. Is that his name?
I don't know. The Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut. What is his name? Zack Snyder? Is that his name?
I don't know.
I think it's Zack Snyder. The Snyder Cut. It's literally 4.5 hours.
Right.
But it's action packed.
But people will watch like The Real Housewives for like 5 straight episodes, and then they'll be like, The Irishman was too long, and you're like,
yeah, but here's the difference. The Real Housewives is drama filled. The Irishman had 45 minutes of like 2 dudes in a booth.
Colin Quinn put it best. He said The Irishman is better than Casino because Casino left out all the interesting parts, like checking into a hotel or driving around.
Yes. Yeah. The Irishman has people driving in a like literally old men driving in an old car, talking with the radio on. It's just slow. It was good, and don't get me wrong, I don't hate it. I'm not saying The Irishman wasn't good.
Right.
But it was.
But Time is a character in the movie, if you want me to be a douche about it.
Yeah, see, you're a Rotten Tomatoes guy. You're a Rotten Tomatoes guy. There's 2 kinds of people in this world.
I regret telling the Army story.
Why?
Because I've told it on a few podcasts,
but they
get
haven't
kicked out. And I always feel like I'm trying to get away from just using my real life as just the you know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
instead of having I'd rather have a discussion than just telling my life.
Yeah, but we've had plenty of discussion. It's not just been
I know, I'm just
life.
a little
you told
humiliated.
One story about, and I was right. You were like, it was to take care of my parents.
It was.
Come on.
Wait, what do you mean? Come on.
You told the story.
So what did you get out of it that meant it wasn't about that?
That you're like bipolar or something.
No. It was oppositional defiance disorder.
Yeah, you know what that means? Bipolar.
It doesn't mean bipolar.
You're bipolar.
I'm not bipolar.
You're
You're the one
bipolar.
on meds.
I'm not on meds.
Fucker. You said you're on antidepressants. Oh, your dad.
No, my
is.
dad. Yeah.
Well, you got those genes in you.
I'll admit,
You're
if
jacking
you
off all
admit you're
day.
bipolar, I'll admit I'm a little depressed.
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah. If you're honest with yourself, I'll be honest with myself.
I don't even think I have oppositional defiance disorder. I think that's a bullshit disorder. I don't even think I have it. I don't think it's real.
I don't think depression's real.
You really don't think depression's real?
I mean, there's people who are sadder than others and more sad. And obviously, if you're suicidal, there's levels. But I think it's okay. Let me put it this way. I think it's overprescribed, overdiagnosed. Is the word. I think depression is real, but half the people who are like, I'm depressed. It's like, no, you're a human being. Go work out.
Why don't you take your own advice?
I do.
Put down your
I
cock
don't
and pick
tell
up a
people.
weight.
I don't tell everyone that I don't walk around going, I'm depressed. If someone asks me, are you happy? I'll go, no, I'm a little depressed, but I'm not walking around going, oh, I have a disorder. Yeah, I don't do that. There's plenty of people that's their whole identity. I'm on antidepressants. I go to therapy.
Anybody with that one thing identity. That's what I don't like about veterans that do that. I don't like that about people who wear anything as a badge, but they just have one thing, and that's what I am.
What's my badge?
I don't even know, man. You might be. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I try not to have that. I try to.
I
I get bored easily. I have ADD, which I don't necessarily believe in that either. But but I have ADD in the sense where I'm always like if I do too much stand up, I'm like, I need to stop, like not stop doing too much stand up. I need to do other things too. You know,
I feel like,
mix it up.
yeah. I feel like a lot of people, I mean, Hollywood makes you into a one-dimensional human being. You see a lot of people who are like, this is my thing. I can't ever change my hair. I have this haircut. And the haircut
I could think of someone like that.
I can too.
Yeah.
I can think of a couple.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I could never get a haircut because that's my thing. And now I'm a one-dimensional human being who has to only talk about this stuff or only be about this stuff. And it works too. Like when you try to present yourself like on YouTube or any kind of entertainment as a multifaceted individual.
I've had people give me that as advice.
Yeah, me too.
I've had people who they're like, dude, you gotta like pick a lane and run with it hard. And they're probably right, but
it's just not worth it.
Yeah,
though.
it's not fun.
I can't. I don't know what lane I would pick. I have a sports podcast. I have one that focuses on the news. Like these are two things that I like and I know about and I talk about and can be funny about. But like, I don't want to pick. I can't pick a lane. I don't have. Well, if you had to pick a lane, what would it even be?
I mean,
hiking.
I have
Kevin Nealon's podcast.
I have a lane that I think other people would give me, but I think it's not a lane. It's just true to myself.
Which is what?
Bad boy, bad boy. No, I'm not a right winger.
But you're like,
I lean right. I'm really down the middle. I just tend to lean right lately.
Conservatives love to say they're down the middle.
I think I truly am.
Yeah,
I'm pro gay marriage.
Yeah, a lot of lefties like to say they're socialists. Like
pick a topic, and a lot of them I'm liberal leaning on.
Here's the lies that people tell. Conservatives say they're centrists, and a lot of like Hollywood Democrats say they're socialists, and they're not. They're like way closer to the right than they are socialism, and the centrists are way further right.
So you think I'm further right than I think I am?
No, I'm just saying that's something I see a lot. I don't know about you and your views. Abortion, how do you feel?
I'm pro-choice.
Pro-choice.
Yeah. I do think it's murder, though.
Yeah.
But I'm pro-murder.
You feel like it's murder, but you don't care.
I think it's good murder. I think there's people need to tell, like, just like the death penalty, I'm kind of for as well.
You're for the death penalty?
Yeah.
Okay, what about...
I'm for killing babies, and I'm for killing serial killers.
Okay, what's another classic social... food stamps. Social services, welfare.
So I'm for it, but I do think it's kind of abused as well. So I'm for it, but I think they need to make it a little stricter to get.
What makes you think is abused?
Because I've gotten food stamps and I should not be able to get food stamps.
The